They often do want to tap into our national database as well as our international database.
Okay, so we're talking people that travel a lot,
yes.
Obviously high-value individuals. How do you go from being a local matchmaking, if we can call New York a local matchmaking service, to an international matchmaking service with more than $1 million in revenue? I mean, how do you build to that? And where's your source of revenue at this point? How did you grow from a local to this big international firm?
Well, our revenue is over $1 million at this point. So we started out with one city. The first city was New York City, and then we branched out to Philadelphia and Washington.
And in Philadelphia, you actually took over, correct?
Yes, I took over another operation about 4 years ago that had been in existence since 1991. So I adopted several thousand clients there.
So small business, same way as big business, you'd made an acquisition, so to speak.
Yes. Yeah, in Philadelphia. And then Washington, I started that office from scratch. Now, as far as the international clients, I mean, we, because I have so many clients that do travel, we did forge an alliance with a London-based matchmaking service, and it's been fantastic. And I mean, we're sharing dozens of clients.
And how do you
now.
share the fee? You split it in half, or depending on where the match comes from?
Well, it really depends on from the initial interview, we find out what they are looking for as far as services are concerned, and then we split up the fees accordingly.
So depending on where the match comes from?
Well, I mean, if they're going to be spending more time overseas in London or another, let's say in Frankfurt or where have you, then we would figure out what portion of the fees would be distributed to which office.
Now, what city has the highest revenue for Premier Match?
I would say New York City.
New York City?
Yeah.
And specifically because of a higher quantity of individuals, or because the specific needs tend to be more internationally oriented?
Well, yes, New York City, I find, is more international. So they do tap into the London operation more than, let's say, Philadelphia and Washington. And also, New York tends to have a lot of, we have a lot of bi-coastal clients that are back and forth to Los Angeles and so on.
One thing that I found interesting when I was reading up on your company, as far as a small business owner, is that you developed a proprietary software system. Now, had you written software before? Did you find someone to do this? How did you get started in that side of the actual business?
Well, when the business grew to the point that we were representing something like 3,000 clients, it was still on. We were still on paper, and we needed to come up with some sort of software that would be able to match all of our clients and keep everybody on top of where they are with their term. So I started the software with a couple of technology fellows, and we designed the whole package. It is proprietary, it is mine, and it took a year or so to iron out the wrinkles, but now it's just fantastic.
So now, when was this? You started your company in 2000. When did you decide to do this software system?
We started designing it in 2003.
Okay, now at that point, had you become profitable for your company? Had you, all the overhead costs were paid for, starting to be profitable?
Within a year, we were turning a profit, and then we grew in revenue about 30% per year.
And the question about the software company, have you decided to rent that software out, sell it? How is that part of your business actually growing?
Well, it's interesting because the software that we did develop, I have been approached by the British operation, and also one of the companies out in Los Angeles is interested in purchasing it. So it's a hot commodity. I mean, it's a fantastic operation, and I'm looking to, solidify a deal, especially with London.
So as a small business owner, obviously you offer something that's unique. Additionally, you offered something on top of that, which was create some kind of proprietary software system to help out. But what other things do you think allow you to grow from a small business standpoint in this industry?
Well, I think now that I've been in the business for close to 10 years, I've become a relationship expert because, I mean, I've seen, heard everything. So I have been sought out by many different newspapers, magazines to discuss relationships.
And we're going to have to get into those relationships in detail in just a few minutes, but you have to stay tuned. You're watching Venture. Christy Nightingale, founder of Premier Match. Stay tuned.
If you want a close, clean shave, you need a razor blade and hot lather. If you want comfort and convenience, you need an electric shaver. But if you want close and convenient, you need the Microforce. Introducing the world's first micro shaver that combines the closeness of a blade with the convenience of an electric. Use it wet or dry for the closest and most comfortable shave ever. Micro technology makes it smaller than a credit card, but gives it twice the shaving surface of a conventional blade and twice the power of a bulky old electric. That means you get a closer, cleaner, more comfortable shave in half the time. Plus, it's completely waterproof, so you get the closeness of a wet shave with the convenience and comfort of an electric. Now, we don't suggest shaving underwater, but we did it to prove how well Microforce works and how smooth the shave is. And Microforce is rechargeable and holds its charge up to 10 times longer than standard battery shavers. Extremely compact, so it's easy to be perfectly groomed wherever you go. So if you're using a blade to get a close shave or an electric because they're convenient, now you can have the best of both worlds and get the best shave ever with Microforce, a $40 value for only $19.99. As an added bonus, you'll also receive our deluxe grooming kit. It contains every grooming tool you need to always look your best. A $20 value, yours free. Just pay processing, and your satisfaction is guaranteed. If you don't agree Microforce gives you your best shave ever, simply return it for a full refund. But keep the grooming kit as our gift. That's right, you get the Microforce Wet and Dry Rechargeable Razor, our deluxe grooming kit, and our 60-day best shave ever guarantee. An incredible $60 value, all for only $19.99. But you have to call now.
Call 1-800-424-3301. That's 1-800-424-3301. Or go online to buymicroforce.com. That's buymicroforce.com. Don't delay. Call right now.
Welcome back to Venture. I'm Chris Valerio, and we're talking with Christy Nightingale. She's the president and founder of Premier Match, which is a high-end matchmaking service. Now, we've talked about how she went from a model to a small business owner. We've also talked about the input costs and what makes her small business work. But Premier Match, of course, is just one player in the world of high-end dating.
The matchmaking market is a small yet resilient industry. From a small business standpoint, the Better Business Bureau of Los Angeles shows there are more than 230 matchmaking and dating services. In San Francisco, you may have left your heart, but you didn't get much help. Only 20 such services there. The Windy City boasts 46, and the Big Apple 110.
People do say, my gosh, I mean, I'm lonely, I'm not meeting anybody, and yet look out the window and there are thousands of different offices and just people walking around. It's hard for people to meet each other.
Enter the world of high-end matchmaking. Tiffany Crystal, antique books, breathless views.
I wanted to bring about a warm and relaxed environment. We meet so many people here. I mean, we've met thousands of people here, and we've conducted interviews, and many of whom we've worked with have since gotten married, have had children. I mean, it starts here.
Mazel tov.
Tying the knot never felt so good.
It gives me chills. You know, I think about it. We go to their weddings, the love in their eyes. I mean, it brings it all together, and it makes it all worthwhile.
Worthwhile, perhaps, but worth the cost?
That is the question, Christy. Is it worth the cost? So here's the deal. I work down at the New York Stock Exchange every day. We are in a major recession, hard times. People are losing their jobs, losing millions, billions of dollars in the stock market. Why would now be the time to use a service such as yourself? And are people using the service at times like this?
Well, surprisingly enough, we are so busy that yes, I mean, they find that this is worth it. I mean, you can't put a price tag on love, and you cannot put a price tag when you meet somebody that is going to be your future. So,
but why do you think it is? I mean, let's go through the statistics here. We have Saks offering 70% discounts. You look at companies like Tiffany, Coach, Nordstrom's, all reducing their earnings expectations. So obviously people are cutting back on some of the luxury spending, if we could call it that. But how is it then that your company is able to, or this type of service is still attractive, or people are willing to put their money in that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, the thing is that the volume of calls hasn't subsided. I mean, we still are signing up people every month. And I mean, it's interesting because when the recessions was becoming more and more intense in September and October, November, I mean, we had the best fourth quarter in our